Thank you so much, he says, adjusting the microphone up from normal person's height to giant person's height. Yeah, I am what I like to call a stand-up poet. Do a little bit of the stand-up, do a little bit of the poetry, do a little bit of the comedy. What I like to open with is just like a vocal exercise. And this vocal exercise is singing C is for Cookie is heavy metal. C is for Cookie, that's good enough for me. C is for Cookie, that's good enough for me. C is for Cookie, that's good enough for me. Cookie, that's a C. See? That's a good vocal warm-up, right? That gets you going. That gets the blood pumping. This first piece I want to do for y'all tonight is called Lemons. It was requested by some of the people here. And it comes down to the fact that there are certain turns of phrase that the more you think about them, the less sense they make. And there's the phrase, when life gives you lemons, make lemonade. And that sounds wonderful when you first hear it. And the more you think about it, the more ridiculous it becomes. Because when life gives you lemons, complain how much you hate lemonade. When life gives you lemons, demand to see the manager because you ordered oranges. God damn it, this is America. The customer is always right. When life gives you lemons, freeze them and throw them through the windows so you can steal something better than lemons. Throw them through the windows of a Walmart. Throw them through the windows of a Hannaford. Let's see, we're closer to Albany, so we would say, throw them through the windows of a Price Chopper. That's what you do when you got lemons. When life gives you lemons, you gotta cut them in half. You gotta cut the lemons in half. And you have to create a little interpretive dance about your enormous nipples. La 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 la, nipple dance squirt, nipple dance squirt, la 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 la. When life gives you lemons, scream at the top of your lungs, melons! I hate spell check, melons! I tried to like melons with my big fat thumbs on this little tiny phone. Melons! I want melons! When life gives you lemons, lash them together into a crude raft. Ride it all the way to some island paradise, or at least somewhere that it doesn't snow in April. When life gives you lemons, margaritas, bitches! When life gives you lemons, use your $200,000 degree in theoretic philosophy to explain that lemons do not exist. When life gives you lemons, at least write a poem about it. And then maybe you'll be able to take the stage in Gloversville and have something useful to do with all these goddamn lemons. I hate lemons. It's called my plan for autumn. Maybe I'll just start dipping my balls in nutmeg the beginning of September. Declare myself Pumpkin Spice Mike. Stand in front of the Starbucks. Let the ladies of the Uggs swarm me till I can't breathe. I'll be Pumpkin Spice Mike. Maybe I'll just start rolling around in cinnamon dust when I get out of the shower in the morning. Get chased around by latte drinkers in yoga pants the whole autumn long. Maybe I'll just start inserting a single clove into the tip of my wang before I leave the house to go apple picking. And they'll throw their leggings at me, screaming pumpkin spice Beatlemania to me. It'll be awesome. Of course, it'll be all over by Thanksgiving, but that's when I'd work up my second plan, hanging candy canes from all my belt loops, and one caressed gently in my plumber's crack just for good measure. People, I think I might have 2 out of 4 seasons covered. All I gotta do is hang around Starbucks and smell real weird and be Pumpkin Spice Mike. Pumpkin Spice Mike! Pumpkin Spice Mike.
Pineapple Express. What if pineapples are actually eggs laid by the most unfortunate breed of birds ever? How good must sex be for the pineapple bird to do it knowing that this will be love's final product? Can you imagine? Can you imagine when you're a pineapple bird and you have a snotty teenager sassing back to you, typing into its phone, ignoring you? Do you even understand what I went through to bring you into this world? I pushed a pineapple out of my body! On second thought, it's really good that pineapples are just fruit. And the worst things that pineapples can do is ruin pizza. I'll take ruining pizza over ruining an entire race of birds anytime. Shaggy Dog story. My favorite thing about Scooby-Doo was the way that they were always disproving supernatural hoaxes that were much more possible than their talking dog. Aliens, ghosts, goblins, gremlins, spooks, fairies. Oh, no. These have got to be amusement park owners in masks. Things like that can't possibly be real. Just ask the talking dog. Not just a talking dog. Not even just one talking dog. A whole family of talking dogs. A gene line of talking dogs. A Scrappy-Doo and a Scooby-Dum. A veritable secret of Nim of talking dogs. But pirate ghosts? No, pirate ghosts. Those must be like gold miners with hologram projectors. Isn't that right? Genetically aberrant talking dog? Every talking dog, you see, is related to Scooby-Doo. Remember, we never see a talking dog that isn't family to their talking dog. They're talking dogs! So it's not like we're in some alternate reality where this is normal, where you just walk down the street. You're just walking down North Main Street of Gloversville, and there's 3 or 4 talking dogs. They're sniffing, they're doing things. No! Just these dogs. Every other dog doesn't talk. So this isn't normal. These kids are not, this is not normal. To these children driving around the American South stoned in a van looking for ghosts. The idea of intelligent life somewhere out there in the universe. This is impossible to them. That can't be real. There's nothing out there. And you know who agrees with them? The talking dog! The talking dog! My favorite thing about Scooby-Doo is pretending I could jump into the television and rip the rubber mask off the dog. And it's a perverted old man. And he just pretended to be a talking dog so he could sit in the van and watch Velma change your clothes. And he'd say to me, and I would have gotten away with it too if it wasn't for that unconventionally handsome poet. And then maybe I could make some time with Velma. I'm kind of into nerd girls. That'd be nice. Thank you. This next piece is a comedy piece. I often host open mics both for comedy and for poetry and sometimes music. And I get to interact with all the amazing performers from the Albany area and the Utica area and all these weird places in between, like Little Falls where I'm from. And sometimes I'll just see one of my friends, one of my cohorts here doing something, and I'm like, I want to try to write one piece like them. The gentleman who I'll be introducing in a few minutes This is my attempt at writing an Ed Smythe-like piece. It's called The State of Human Progress. Leif Erikson, the older Vikings, laughed around the fire. Trying to colonize Vinland like an idiot, goddamn millennial. Tiberius sending Germanicus to fight Partha. The Romans scoffed within the Senate building, goddamn millennials. Iron Age. The elder Hittites clucked their tongues. What, bronze isn't good enough for these brats? Goddamn millennials. They think building Minoan temples on Crete is just so woke. The Greeks who managed to live to 40 were heard to mutter, goddamn millennials. Cuneiform! Cuneiform! The people in their 30s laughed while gathering wheat. Pictograms aren't good enough for these millennials? Look at these jerks domesticating rice, they said in the fields of ancient China. Next they'll be calling it artisanal rice, single batch rice, organic free trade rice, goddamn millennials. Wheel, what are you doing? Why are you forcing this on us? They whispered in caves, they whispered in grottos, they whispered on the plains. Lazy kids don't want to put the work in like we did. We just carry things. We don't use wheels. Goddamn millennials. I mean, there was more swearing than Ed would have used, but it's
Smart poetry.
it's an approach. It's a piece called Just Say Maybe. Maybe the characters in the classic rock radio song Piano Man wouldn't be so depressed if they didn't have to listen to Billy Joel all the time. Maybe this guy Davey is completely happy with his naval career. Maybe he's on track for admiralty. Maybe he's the one who killed Bin Laden and is selling the movie rights. Maybe Captain Davey is only melancholy about the way his life is gone because he's currently stuck listening to Billy Joel. Maybe you would be too. You would start to question the decisions you made from day one until day now, when your outcome is you're stuck listening to the concentrated, consecrated suburban mediocrity that is the music of one William Joel. Maybe Paul over there in the corner, he never wanted a wife to begin with. Maybe Paul likes men, or maybe Paul isn't into the whole monogamy thing. For all we know, our friend Paul has some rare hormonal deficit where romantic attachment doesn't mean anything to him. His dopamine receptors just don't go off for that, no matter the situation. But he's got a happy life full of good platonic friends, and he's reading a good book before bed. And maybe the reason he's slipping into a dark miasma of doubt and despair is that he's forced to listen to the treacly, low-effort, factory standard, faux working-class laments of a filthy little rich boy from the tawniest part of Long Island in Billy Joel. Maybe John at the bar is completely happy he's not a movie star. Maybe he lived in LA for a couple years and saw how fame can sully a soul, can hollow you out, how commercial living can rip you apart and leave you with nothing except for the boilerplate, baled cliches, ballads, churned out by bog-standard fiends like Billy Joel. Maybe that waitress will turn out to be an extraordinary politician. Maybe she'll spur economic growth through a series of public work projects, rebuilding our crumbling infrastructure. Maybe the businessman Bill is judging so harshly, have health problems, and getting stoned is prescribed therapy for their chronic disorders. Maybe this is the happiest bar on earth most of the time, full of the most positive folk you could ever meet, just stopping by for one drink after a long day of changing the world, and they're only suffering these 5 minutes of wavering, ennui, and self-recrimination, because those are the minutes they must slog along to the soulless, middle-of-the-road, bane to complexity that is the work of Billy Joel. Scenes from an Italian restaurant came on Mr. Rogers' car once. And that was it. The eternal optimist got so depressed, he drove off a bridge right then and there. That's how Mr. Rogers really died. I know that's not how his death was reported, but there was a big cover-up due to the fact that Billy Joel has more money than God. What a terrible human being. There it is. My apologies. When you get all yelly and screamy, sometimes drop pages. You lose things. Yeah. A couple more things before I take off. I want to tell you a quick story about my dad. My dad met 3 very famous people in his life, and it explains some things to me about how you approach the arts. These 3 stories. My dad, when he was young, he wanted to be a science fiction writer before he became a factory worker and worked himself sick building guns. He wanted to be a writer. So the famous science fiction author Isaac Asimov was doing a talk at Herkimer County Community College out where I grew up. And afterwards, my dad went up to this esteemed, brilliant millionaire writer, and he's asking him all these questions about what the world is going to be like and what he thinks about things. And Isaac Asimov turns to my father and he says, "Yeah, that's all great, kid. Where are the loose women in this town?" My dad, one time, he snuck off toward Buffalo to see the National Lampoon Comedy Company doing a series of shows. And these were all the people, who would later go on to start Saturday Night Live. Gilda Radner, John Belushi, Chevy Chase, all these people. They were just doing a live show out, I think, SUNY Buffalo or something. And my dad, he's a little tipsy. I don't know what else he had in him, probably other drugs too. Him and his buddy Farney and a bunch of other people. And so my dad decides to wander in backstage into the green room because my dad was a little shorter than me, but about twice as wide, so you wouldn't stop my father if he was walking in the backstage of a performance hall. And he just goes into the green room and he's just grabbing sandwiches and just sticking beers in his pockets for his buddy. John Belushi walks in. John Belushi walks in and turns to my father, and my dad would always tell me, "I'll never forget what John Belushi said to me." And he's like, "What did he say, Dad?" He said, "John Belushi turns to me and he goes, 'Who the fuck are you? What the fuck are you doing back here?'" And my dad just toasts him with a beer, sticks 2 more beers in his pocket, and leaves. A third time, my dad went to see, I think it's SUNY Fredonia it was, the poet laureate of the United States, Stanley Kunitz. He goes there and he sees him talk, and then he goes out drinking with him afterwards. And my dad tells him how he wants to be a writer, and he wants to be a poet, and he wants to be a science fiction author. And he goes, "Come over here, kid." He shows him the back of his car. He says, "You see that suitcase in the back of this car? This suitcase and this car are all I have. Don't be a writer. Don't be a poet. You just go off and be a good kid." And my dad did. He went off and he quit his rock band and he stopped writing and he raised me and my brother. But the dream of getting to face down famous people who can tell you to fuck off, it's just too strong for me. So I'm up here performing. I'm up here continuing the family tradition, and with about 15 grand I still owe to Syracuse University at 38 years old. And this is how you do it. I have one more piece here. And I said all that stuff about my dad, 1, because his sister Madeline is in the audience, but 2, because this piece I'm going to close with, I did as part of a TED Talk once. And my dad was out in the audience, and it was one of the things, I'd never seen him prouder. And then I looked to my mom beside him, and I'd never seen my mom more ashamed. And I figure any piece you can do where you can make your dad glow orange with pride and your mom turn beet red with shame and rage, it must be a pretty good comedy poem. This is called "If I Had Abs." If I had abs, everything would be better. If I had abs, I would be self-confident and employed. If I had abs, I would be famous and successful. If I had abs, women would throw themselves up against me, and I would catch them with my rock-hard abs, and it would be wonderful if I had abs. If I had abs, I would reach my full potential. If I had abs, I would be the werewolf from Twilight. If I had abs, I'd use them to cure cancer. If I had abs, I'd use them to negotiate a two-state solution between Israel and Palestine. If I had abs, I would use them to go back in time and prevent the Kennedy assassination. And my reward would be a three-way with Marilyn and Jackie if I had abs. If I had abs, everything would come too easily. Because abs corrupt. And absolute abs corrupt absolutely. If I had abs, I would become ungrateful. I would lord them over everyone. Because the male equivalent of boys don't make passes at girls who wear glasses is girls don't keep tabs on boys without abs. If I had abs, let's face it, I would be a huge jerk about it. But no one would stop me because my abs would be so very beautiful. If I had abs, they would probably ruin my life. If I had abs, all my time would go into crunches, at gyms, and exercise, and eating lean chicken and cauliflower. If I had abs, they'd probably start talking to me at night. They'd start whispering. They'd whisper things like, kill the Pope. What? Kill the Pope. No abs, I'm not going to kill the Pope. I just want to get girls. If I had abs, I would not just have 6 of them like some schmuck on the street. If I had abs, I would have 35 abs. I'd have 38 abs. I'd have 43 abs. I don't even know if you can have an odd number of abs, but if you could, I would have them. If I had abs. If I had abs, I would like myself too much. If I had abs, I wouldn't have to be smart or funny or interesting or prompt. I would just have abs. I would get by on abs. If I had abs, I would grate cheese on them. And I would go in that back room and I would make you all a plate of ab-grated quesadillas. And you would love them because they would come from my abs. If you only knew, if I had abs, you wouldn't want to know me except to come up to me and lick my abs. And that would be wonderful. And that would be great. And maybe that would be enough. But what I can tell you is, if I had abs, I would have to spend hundreds of dollars every single month buying markers so I can draw abs on my stomach. I would just be a poet. I would just be a comic. I would just be a person with abs. And I probably wouldn't be as funny. But one person who is very, very, very funny and is a great friend in the creative community is a man. He's a man. Ed, why did you come here? Your geek comedy hours in the capital region are fine, but the county passed a unanimous injunction to keep you out. Nevertheless, you persisted. Nevertheless, Ed persisted. Ed persisted. Ed persists. Ed exists. Ed is here. Would you please welcome to the stage one Mr. Ed Smythe.
Ed not here. Ed not here. Me, Oog, son of Og, from 30,000 BC. Ed call me on cell phone and say he busy with saber-toothed tiger or woolly mammoth. Me not sure. So me come here for you. So me Neanderthal entertainer. Me do folk music. Brian Dorn be very happy. He feature me next show. Me a caveman. Me a caveman. Me a caveman. And me eat small mammals.